Good morning. We're back at the house and the build is almost finished. We are currently waiting for paint to dry on the doors. And while we wait for that, we've been organising, packing, repairing, just making use of our time. This was probably our most intense meeting yet. Because we're getting to the end of the builder is very keen on going over small details, and we're very keen on raising lots and lots of questions and lots of points that need addressing. During the meeting, we dealt with 2 people from the project management company, 2 electricians, 1 plumber, and us, all wandering around the house, all pointing and talking, and I felt the language barrier during this meeting, and I felt some of the frustrations in the differences between the way we expect things to be done and the way they expect things to be done. I think there are a few quizzical looks at why did we want things in a certain way, things that seem obvious to us but less obvious to them. I'll get onto those later. This visit sees the heating system having gone in. The external air exchange isn't plumbed in, that's happening next week, so the heating system isn't able to be turned on. They've given us controls for all the electric shutters, and we've now got a motor in our garage door. Not much has changed upstairs. Actually, one big thing has changed. One of the things that makes a real difference to us, the plumbing has gone in for the toilets and the sinks. No hot water, but we do have running cold water throughout the house. It makes working in the house that much easier, having working toilets and having sinks and having running water. So much better. We've come at a good time. This week the cherry blossom is out on one of our trees. The cherry blossom only appears for a couple of weeks each year, and there's a good chance we'll miss it if we're not visiting just at the right moment. So after trying 3 times to get the sliding doors made available for us to paint, it's done. We've been able to start painting them this weekend. It's quite the relief. The painting is taking longer than we expected. The house is quite cold still. There's no heating system and we're still just entering spring. So the paint that we're using is good, but it's taking longer to dry than we would like. That means we just don't have enough time in the weekend to apply undercoat and 2 layers of top coat in a way that gets us a good finish. We were pleased to have bought extra sawhorses last time we were here. It's meant that we've been able to work on 4 doors simultaneously. Because of the long drying times, we're not able to flip over the doors to paint the other sides as quickly as we'd like. We were able to flip them over fairly promptly with the undercoat, but the top coat takes much, much longer to dry. I imagine we're going to be painting for at least a month or 2. For us, just 2 people, inexperienced in painting a house, we've got a lot to learn. It'll be quite fun. I'm not too daunted by it, but I'm aware it's going to require a lot of work. What we're particularly learning is how much preparation is required before you open the tin of paint. There's a lot of sanding, a lot of shaving off drips of paint that you did badly in the last coat, and just generally tidying up the last coat or the surface you're about to paint before you put the next layer of paint on. The electrician has put on the nice fixtures and fittings on all the plugs and sockets that are finished. So the plugs and sockets in the bathrooms they're done. They look great. In the rooms where we have walls to paint, they've put on the central parts of the plugs and switch, but not the surrounding plastic cover. We'll put those on ourselves once we finish painting. The electrician did, however, take off the little protective red covers, and they were left ready to be thrown away. When we paint the walls, I really want to protect the electric sockets and plugs, so those red covers are nice to have. I'm glad they weren't completely thrown away before we got here. We're having to push back a bit with how things like the toilets are installed. They're just not perfect. They're not done in the style that we expect. There's a bit of a back and forth over what's common in France and what's common in, say, the United Kingdom or Australia. We're trying to find a middle ground, and it's not been easy. In Australia, typically all the pipes would be hidden in a bathroom. In France and in the United Kingdom, a lot of pipes are more visible. And so it's a bit more of a shock for Megan to see a nice new bathroom with an exposed sort of utilitarian piping. We're going to see if we can find a way to hide that piping, or if there's some sort of ceramic ware we can put in that'll hide the piping for her. But it's difficult explaining that expectation to plumbers who have no experience of it. That was a difficult point of the meeting. And we've ended up with this pipe in our stairwell. It's in the basement, effectively, so it's not in the area we live in, but it's a bit strange. We're not sure how we feel about it. We're told there's no odour, we're told it's not an output, but it's only an intake. Just a bit odd. These are things that we don't know about, and I don't know how we would have known about. It's really good being in the house. We're getting more comfortable with every visit, getting more familiar with everything with every visit. It's coming to a close now. The builder's actively talking about when to hand over the keys. When they hand over the keys, that's it. They're gone. That main contractor is out of the picture. But the house isn't yet finished. We've still got a couple of other contractors to come in, so there are a few more months yet. We're in the very fortunate position that we don't have to rush to move into this house. We've got no deadlines. We're going to do this properly, we're going to do this carefully, and we're going to do this nicely. Train back to Lyon now, another working week ahead of us. Probably be back fairly soon to finish off painting those sliding doors. See you then.